Well, hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday. I'm keeping you all on your toes by changing up the time. At least I did it an hour later instead of an hour before. But welcome, everyone, to Baby Talk. Baby Talk Tuesdays. My name is Cara Wright, and I am a facilitator of consciousness, all things baby, bodies, mamas, bellies, all the things. And I do these little weekly shows on really a different perspective of pregnancy, birth, babies, conception, all the things. Um, just as information for all of you who've been following here, I've been getting a lot of questions about um, conception and becoming pregnant, like the risk of getting pregnant if you don't really, want to get pregnant. Like those of you that have those little baby beans around you knocking on the door, and you're like, no, this door is not open for you. So I am going to take all of June, and it's going to be all topics around more around conception, um, being aware and present with baby beings that could potentially be your children even before you conceive. Because yes, you're not crazy. You can actually be aware of those little buggers before you actually physically conceive them. Oftentimes, a lot of women are. And, of course, this, no one tells you that's possible here. In fact, if you say that's possible, you're freaking crazy. Welcome to my crazy place. um, yeah. So all of June, if that is your jam, if you're someone who, you know, isn't interested in becoming a mom and is really, really aware of babies being there. And what do you do with that? Or also for those of you that are interested in being mamas and you haven't yet conceived and you're wondering what's going on, and you're wondering about connecting with those baby beings, being aware of like what are the infinite possibilities around conceiving when you haven't been able to conceive, all the things. So join me in June for that. That'll be really fun. So if you have any specific questions, some of you have reached out and sent me specific questions, which I will be addressing. But if there are those of you that haven't reached out yet, please do, because I'm happy to address. I will go anywhere. I will talk about anything. So just let me know. But today, to finish off May, um, I wanted to talk about something that it's so funny because it's like in some ways so obvious, but in a lot of ways, it's not something we really acknowledge. And I don't really think a lot of women are actually willing to receive. Um, can babies contribute to you? What do I mean by that? Um, for all of the years that I, have been working with this particular group of women, um, and even partners as well to some degree, but mainly I have worked with women through prenatal yoga, postnatal yoga, being a birth preparation facilitator, being a doula. Like I've worked very closely with a lot of women. And for a lot of that time, I really didn't acknowledge this. It's really been more recently that I've started to play with this idea that these beings are actually, not only are they capable of contributing to you and your body, they really desire to contribute to you and your body. And what has occurred is like, it's not, when you look at being pregnant or you look at being a mom, what's the general consensus? The general consensus is that you will be giving to this baby, that you will be growing the baby, that like there like that the baby's basically like your whole job is now going to be giving to this child, giving to the child in the womb, giving to the child, being there for the child through the birth, being there for the child through postpartum. Basically, until that child is 18 or more, your whole job is to give to that child. What if that's not actually true? Like, what if there is a different possibility available? And not only is it available, it's actually what these babies are desiring. Now, is every baby like that? No. Let me let you in on a little tip. Because here's the thing: is every person like that? Look across the people in your lifetime. Are there people that are much more wanting to contribute to you in your life? And are there people that have no interest in contributing to you in your life? They would like for you to just always contribute to them. Like how people are is how babies are beings in baby bodies. So is every being here to be like, what can I contribute? What can I give to you? What can I contribute? Contribution is a simultaneity of gifting and receiving. This is something that we talk about in Access Consciousness a lot, what contribution is. In fact, before Access Consciousness, I'm pretty sure I had like a much more twisted definition of contribution. Like contribution is when you're giving, like solely giving. And when I learned that contribution can actually be a simultaneity of gifting and receiving, that's actually what contribution is. It's like that had so much more space and lightness in my world. Like, oh, that is what is actually possible. And the thing that's very interesting is your point of view does create your reality. So if you have decided that contribution is one way, it's you giving to someone else and receiving nothing in return, that is what you'll create. And you will actually shut the flow, the gates of being able to receive. And unfortunately, because no one has ever said to you that your baby can actually gift to you, that it actually a lot of them actually desire to contribute to you, to contribute to your body, to contribute to your life, you don't think that it's possible. So you don't even consider it as a possibility. You know, it's like, how often do people get pregnant and immediately go into like the financial reality of like, how are we going to afford a baby? Especially nowadays. I mean, how like everything is, inflation is such as it is. You'd have to be living under a rock to not be aware of that. And so what happens when a lot of times people will get pregnant and immediately go into, oh my God, how are we going to afford this baby? What if I were to tell you that, like, first of all, what if being able to afford anything or being financially able to take care of something is more of an energetic thing, not a money thing? And if it is an energetic thing, which it is, can your baby, would you be willing to allow your baby to contribute to your money flows, to the energy that creates a sense of having and wealth, to having an energy of going from how am I going to be able to afford this to what can we actually create together? What is this baby here to create with me? And what is it here to create through me, for it, for the world? It's this sense of being generous with your spirit and allowing your baby's spirit to be generous with you. One of the things that I started just when I started getting this information, like I said, it was like I was a doula for years and years and years before this whole concept started to kind of open itself to me. And I started to really look at like, is this actually possible? Is this something that actually, could be as part of the process? It doesn't have to be that a woman gets pregnant and everything, she's the one gifting to everything, and she's got to figure out how to pay for everything, and her body's the one that's building everything. And in order to build the baby body, it's going to pull everything from the mama body. In fact, I used to say that kind of stuff all the time. And like, there is like some like scientific truth to it, but there's so much more involved in the creation of a baby body that is like, well, the calcium, if there's not enough calcium to build the baby bones, it takes it from the mama's bones. Like, there is a truth to that. And what else is actually going on that's beyond what we know? Like, that's beyond the science, that's beyond the physiology, that's beyond the anatomy. Like, what is actually available that has never been considered? And when I started to like play with introducing this in my prenatal classes, like, I would just say to women, like, what if you spent 5 minutes a day? And of course, they were all pregnant. They were my prenatal yoga classes. But what if you spent 5 minutes a day, like, getting quiet, getting present with your body, getting present with your baby body, your baby's body, and being willing to just like lower your barriers. One of the things we talk about in Access is like literally lowering your barriers. Like, we are all energetic beings. You have like far more interaction with your environment than you could ever realize or that you're ever taught. And so what a lot of us do is we will create these barriers in order to be what we think is actually going on, like what we've been taught is going on, which is so much more limited than what's actually going on. And so we have these barriers that we've erected, energetic barriers, to kind of dull and drown out like what we're aware of, and to believe we're the limited beings that we've been taught we are. And you can literally just ask for those barriers to go down. And when you ask for the barriers to go down, what will start to show up is that you're far more aware than you've ever considered. Like, you actually can be aware of your baby's body in a very different way. You can be aware of the being that is coming to be your baby. And for a lot of your pregnancy, those two awarenesses can come from different places. Like, the beings don't stay present with, so you might perceive your baby body over here, your baby being over here, but then you also will have a sense of the baby body here. Like, there's a lot of the pregnancy where you'll have both. You'll have both. Beings don't like embody the body until like way closer to birth. Sometimes during birth, sometimes not even until post, like after birth, like depending on what's going on for that being. Like, so you can perceive them in different areas. And the more you're willing to push your barriers down and to lower those things that you've created in order to pretend you're the limited meat suit you think you are. You're not, by the way, at all. You're so much greater than you think. It's boggling, actually. You'll start to perceive this. And if you just were to spend 5 minutes a day, like being present with that, like really being present of how you are aware of the being that's coming to be your baby, of the body that's being created for the being, the baby body. And if you were willing to allow those two things to gift something, even if it's just like a flutter, like anything, allow them to gift something to you. Allow them to give something to your body. And then that 5 minutes can become 10 minutes, and that 10 minutes can become 15. And it doesn't necessarily mean the longer time you do this, the greater. But it's like, what more can you start to receive from the baby body and from the being than you've never been willing to receive? Like, what could it contribute to your body? What if being pregnant doesn't have to be the drain that everybody has told you that it is? What if being pregnant could be this huge contribution and energy burst to your body? Like, what if the only thing that's creating the drain is that we've been told that's what's so? But what if that's not what's so? What if you can actually receive so much from the being that's coming to be your baby, so much from the body that is being created in your body simultaneously, that you don't have no energy, that it like contributes to you having all the energy in the world, to your body having all um everything it needs and requires in order to grow the baby. Like, what if everything, and I say this like one of the tools we talk about in Access a lot, what if everything is the opposite of what you've been taught? Everything that you think it is? What if every space that you've decided your, you know, your gifting all the time is actually where you've been unwilling to receive the gift that that being is trying to be for you and for your body? And how do you know that? Like, how do you know what's actually occurring? It's the 5 minutes. It's the getting quiet, getting present with your body, pushing down all those barriers, being willing for something to show up that you didn't consider was possible. Like, actually being willing for pregnancy to be magical, for the being that's coming to be your baby to be a contribution, to be a gift, not just from the space of they're coming, like, not from the space of what this reality talks about with babies as being a gift, but like, would you allow them to contribute to your body? Would you allow them to contribute to your money flows? It's a very different way of being. It's a very different choice. And if you just were to suspend your disbelief long enough to try it and see what shows up, that is my invitation to you. So, thank you for joining me today on Baby Talk with Cara Wright. And as I said, and I'm going to be coming out with a schedule as well. So if you are not part of my Baby Talk with Cara Wright group on Facebook, pop on over there and ask to be, I don't know what the word is, like joined. And the schedule will be being put in there in the next day or two. And all of June is going to be, to conceive or not to conceive? That is the question. And what the frick do babies know about that? So please join me. If you know anyone that would contribute to, please let them know that this is available. You can find my baby talks on my page, Cartwright. I think it's Cartwright CFMW. I don't know what my Facebook page is called. You can find it though. There's also my YouTube channel and my Baby Talk group. So I would love to have more people find Baby Talk. The babies are asking for a voice in the world, and I am willing to be it. So if you know anybody who this would contribute to, just share it. And have an amazing rest of your day, and we'll see you next week.